Well, hello, my silky friends. How are you doing? Ooh, it's been a week, hasn't it, since we did a live chat, and I am sincerely sorry. And I'm just gonna tell you, hey, Buckeye, how you doing? Y'all say hello, so I know who. I can see the number of people, but I can't tell who you are. So unless you say hi, I don't know who I'm talking to. I hope you're having a good week. I um I have worked insane hours the last 3 days, and the time change and then my schedule changed. It altered slightly, and it caused me to have, like, 5 hours of sleep before working a 13-hour shift yesterday, and so I'm just gonna warn you. Okay, I am not the sharpest knife in the drawer this morning, but I missed you. I feel more like a spoon in a knife drawer. Like, what are you doing? What are you even doing here? I'm just here because I want to talk to you. Hello, Angel. I gotta put my glasses. It's Angel RN, right? Good to see you. Yeah. So, I keep up with the news, and honestly, I usually have more time at work to see headlines. But when I tell you, I don't know if it's the eclipse. Is it an eclipse? A blood moon is coming in an eclipse, right? Something like that in the next few days. I don't know if that is what is affecting my patients, but they are off the chain. And I look, I had a really hard time with the eclipse last year. It threw me off for about 3 days. I was a little bit insane. And I've never been affected by an eclipse before. But man, I after that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay inside. So I don't know if that's what's making everybody insane. I feel like I could be wrong. Y'all tell me. I don't feel like I'm insane this morning, but I do feel fuzzy. So it is. It's kind of crazy. So just whatever. Look over me. Hello, Shay Watson. Good to see ya. So Angel, you said the eclipse bothered you as well. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna highlight this, Buckeye. Yeah, I was trying on Saturday. I was at work. There was literally nothing I could do. I realized I knew it was coming up, but you know, work, and insanity at work. Y'all know what I do for a living, so I realized that Riley Strain had gone missing on March 8th. I realized that Saturday morning, and I was like, "Oh crap." Um, I am going to be talking about probably a lot. Um, Nashville, Nashville. Because when I was looking at all of the updates for Riley Strain, and I want it to be separate from what I'm talking about today because it needs its whole dedicated. I don't know if I'm going to do lives or video or both, maybe. Um, I saw that it was the anniversary of Riley, and so I started looking at some stuff, just reading some headlines and some comments. And then I remembered what I had in my head about a month ago that I was really going to dig into the Nashville scene. And here's what happens, though, folks. When you start looking at Nashville, and I know Riley Strain was unfortunately a part of that underbelly because of just the way things are, okay? When you start digging into the bar life and all of the people in Nashville who are um, being, I don't even know how I can say it. They're having issues in bars. And so I really want to cover that extensively because I feel like that there needs to be more attention in that area because I think that Nashville needs to step it up. And I feel like the only way they're going to do it is if with public pressure. People, saying, "Hey, this has got to change. You've got to change." But when you start digging into Nashville, then, it just automatically leads over to Lady Bird Lake and Austin and Rainy Street. So in my off time in the car going back and forth to work and stuff, I have been listening to all that and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's just like tons and tons of things to think about, things to consider." Is there any relation? Oh my gosh, what a can of worms that is. And I am going to dig into Nashville and probably touch on Austin. Um, it bothers me, but it's happening in more than Nashville and Austin. Okay, it's cities all over the place. Yes, Buckeye, something seriously wrong in Nashville. Yes, yes. And I told y'all, a friend of mine had called me a couple weeks ago, and she wanted to take a trip with another friend of hers to Nashville, and she said, "Hey, how far are you?" And she said, "Let's drive up. If you want to meet us up there." We haven't set that on concrete yet. Um, I really, really want to do that. First of all, I met her through this channel and we talk. When we talk, it's forever. It's forever. So, um, and I thought, kind of killing two birds with one stone. I can spend some more time with my wonderful friend and check out some more stuff in Nashville that I want to dive into. However, that's not what I'm talking about today because, I guess I've been behind. Sometimes I feel like I live under a rock. Last year, uh, it was more than a year ago now. You had the whole Kansas City Chiefs issue. Remember the fans that were found in their friend's yard? Um, so now there's some updates on that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the lawsuit with JP Miller. I know I did a video on it, but I want to talk to y'all about it because I want to see what y'all are saying. I'm going to I'm going to show you some interesting things because sometimes, news happens and things happen. There's so many lives that I do and so many videos that I forget what was said last year. And so I was looking back at the Kansas City Chiefs. I know I did a live on it. I haven't even looked at that one yet. But CJ and I did some lives together. I was on his channel, but then I did a clip of one of his videos because I thought it was very, very interesting. And it's funny, because I was watching one of the streams that we did together on my channel, and it's funny what is said and you go back a year later and you're like, okay, that was right on target. That was right on target. This one I don't know yet. We know more facts. It's really, really interesting. So, Angel, you went to Nashville. She says, let me just highlight it. I went there with my sister a few years back. Yeah, I was there a lot last spring, early spring. Um, I look at some of the things that people are saying now, and I'm like, I wasn't the brightest bulb in the pack then either. Not that I wasn't safe, but I'm like, I don't think I really considered how dangerous it could have been. But anyway, we're going to look at some stuff. Let me pull this up. As far as Kansas City, I'm going to spare y'all the light reflection of my glasses, and I am just going to go straight where I can see this bigger. Okay, so finally, after a year, and this was, let me just recap for a second. If y'all remember, last year in one of the Kansas City Chiefs games, you had some guys that were, at a mutual friend's house. They were just enjoying the game, we thought, right? They get together, they watch the game, they're there all day. And then, strangely enough, three of the friends never came home back to their families, their wives, fiance, whatever. And So what happened at that time is that, of course, the family is going nuts, texting. They're not getting any answers from their loved ones. And so they start texting the host because remember, these guys had been friends like since high school. Like they had been friends forever. And nobody's answering. Nobody can get, all they knew is they went to Jordan Willis's house. Okay. Jordan Willis is the guy that was hosting the party. And I'm going to show some stuff about him in a second. Um, yeah, Jordan Willis is hosting the party. And let me make sure that this is going to be where you can see it. Yeah. Okay. Um, and they're not getting any answers from Jordan. Okay. So they know it could have been late Sunday night. People are partying, whatever. And then on Monday, they still can't reach him. Jordan's not answering his phone. They're blowing up his phone, whatever. Nothing. Now, during this time, if you were to look out of the front window of the house, you would see that there were at least two of the friends' cars there sitting on the street, just where they had come in the day before. So the fiance of one of these friends goes up to the house. Um, nobody is interested in really helping, and the family's frustrated. Jordan's not coming to the door, whatever. So on Tuesday, the fiance has had it. Like she is coming out of her skin, worried about. I'm sorry, this is my dog. Worried about. His name is McGreeny. What is his first name? Anyway, so she goes and she's banging on the window. She breaks in his house. She just breaks in the dang house. And because the police aren't helping, nobody is like really responding to this. So she's frantic. She gets inside the house. She goes to the back, like she's calling. She doesn't see Jordan. She doesn't like whatever. The house is seemingly quiet. And so she goes out to the back of the house where she sees the first body frozen in a chair on his patio. Okay, she's freaking out. She calls the police. The police get there, and Jordan finally comes out after the police are, saying, hey, he's in his underwear holding a glass of wine. And they're like, dude, there's 3 bodies in the backyard. What's up, basically. And he's like, I don't know. I've been asleep for 3 days. All right. I have a lot. And I think Nancy Grace did a show on this. Of course, I'm not going to play that because I'm not going to risk a copyright strike. But yeah. So it's kind of a mystery, right? The police are actually wanting to charge at that time breaking and entering for the girlfriend, the fiance. And I mean, come on. Nobody's really charging, they're not getting upset with Jordan Willis. They're like, okay, well, this is no charges were filed. And so they're asking Jordan, like, how did you not know? He's like, well, I had noise canceling headphones on. And he said, I was passed out, like, basically for 72 hours, and I heard nothing. Now, medically speaking, the first thing I'm thinking is if you are not getting up, if you are truly passed out for 72 hours, when the police came to the door, you would have peed on yourself. Let's just put it that way. You would have defecated on yourself. There was no reports or signs of that. So obviously, and you're up drinking wine. Okay. I'm not, I understand, like, this is complicated. Okay. I don't want to come across necessarily as saying that I think Jordan Willis is a horrible person. He might be. He might. And it might have been other factors in the thinking as well. But primarily, you expect, okay, you're going to be charged with something, right? No, no. As a matter of fact, I think it was like around in September or so, they're like, no charges are going to be filed against Jordan Willis, who can't seemingly explain why he couldn't pick up the phone or make any sense as to what actually happened during those 3 days where his friends are out in the backyard frozen. Let me see. I'm going to have to put my glasses on for some of this. Hello, Carol. Hello. Good to see you. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to go through this article and then I'm going to show you part of a video from last year. There's just a lot of questions. Okay, so this was on March 10th. All right. Now, it says, let me make sure, let me double check that you can see this right. Okay. Two pals charged in the deaths of three Kansas City Chiefs. See, I'm not even functioning correctly. Fans are now being sued for allegedly doling out substances in the hours before the trio froze to death in the backyard on a game night. Jordan Willis and Ivory Carson, and let me just tell you, they're going to show their pictures down here, but Ivory Carson had a street name of Blade Brown, just so if you see that somewhere. They were slapped with a wrongful death suit Friday by one of the late men's families. Okay, now, prior to this, just like a few days before, they had finally filed charges against them. The police had, finally, after all this time. And I don't think it took that long to do an autopsy, but I don't know what the holdup was. Anyway, they were charged with involuntary manslaughter, okay? Which I understand. So on top of that, now we have another charge. So I was like, fine, good. Finally, somebody is at least taking this seriously, right? Okay. So they were hit with the charges more than a year after their buddies Ricky Johnson, 38, David Harrington, 37, Clayton McGeeney. See, I knew it was McGeeney. Were found unalive in Willis's Kansas City, Missouri yard. Okay, that's right after the game. And like I said, these guys right here, they had been friends since high school. Long, long, long time. Right? As far as I know, no issues. All right. But we're going to talk a little bit more about who Jordan Willis is. Because I can kind of see some extenuating circumstances, but not the way that he's saying it. Okay, so when they finally released the information, they realized it was, I can't say any of this stuff, but you can see it was a very heavy painkiller and powder. All right, it was the combination of those. So in the lawsuit, Harrington's grieving father, okay, so they already got charges from the police, but this is something else. So they've got involuntary manslaughter from law enforcement. But in this lawsuit, John Harrington alleges that Willis and Carson, and I'll tell you, Ivory Carson, or AKA Blade Brown, was the supplier of the substances because they found his fingerprints on the baggie. So you had Willis hosting and Carson being a long time, in my opinion, not so good friend. All right, so they're charging that he's bringing a lawsuit to say that, hey, I know they're getting involuntary manslaughter, but they should also be charged with failure, and I think it will say in here, failure to render aid. because they both knew the dangers that these substances posed, but dished them out anyway. Okay, so here we go. This is Jordan Willis. Let me see. Well, let me. Oh, come on, New York Post, please. Um, it says defendant Willis and defendant Ivory knew, or through the use of a reasonable degree of care, of course, you know, should have known the presence of the F and the dangers and hazards that it posed during the possibility, including the possibility of being lethal to anyone that might ingest it. Well, yeah, duh. Uh, it don't take any kind of rocket scientist to figure that one out. Uh, Once Harrington began to suffer from the dangers and hazards of the powder and the F, the two men failed to render aid or otherwise attempt to rescue decedent from impacts caused by the substances. All right. So here is Jordan Willis. Uh and here is Ivory Carson, aka Blade Brown. Hold on. Love these ads that pop up. Okay, they both pleaded not guilty. This actually happened last Thursday after being charged. This is, of course, the house that it happened in. Now, this you can see right here is, I'm assuming, the where she took out a window, like climbed in. I think right here, took off the screen and climbed in the house. Now, if you, and I couldn't tell you which video it is, honestly, because I have not been functioning long enough to find it. But CJ did do a on his stream, from Google Earth. You can see all around the backyard. You can see the fence. So I can see how you wouldn't be able to tell anything if you were looking at the house like I'm looking at it now. And this fence over here in the backyard goes all the way around. And even from the back, from what I remember, unless you were standing there like nose poking over the fence like Wilson, right? You wouldn't know anything was amiss. Now, I say that, but some of these other houses over here in the neighborhood are 2 stories. I don't know. I don't really look out at my neighbor's house. I mean, honestly, they could have anything in their backyard. I'm not looking at it. All right. When I'm in my house, I'm not looking at the neighbors on back. But and it being cold, whatever, you're not really staring outside. You're not going outside. It's kind of odd, but not impossible. Let me get back to what y'all are saying. Let's see. Hey, Grizz, good to see ya. Nancy Drew, good to see you. Hold on, let me highlight some of y'all. Nancy Drew. Yes, Buckeye, absolutely. It wasn't the homeowner, the guy in the underwear drinking wine, some kind of drug researcher. Yes, he was a scientist studying HIV. All right. Now, this is why I'm going to show you a video that actually I clipped from. If y'all don't know who, I know some of y'all are like newer to me as far as in the last year. I'm talking about Evil CJ Media and Investigations. All right. So it's when we were doing a stream together. And then, well, I think this one was just him, but like, I want you to listen to this because, yeah, Jordan Willis was a very versed in substances. Okay. He was a scientist, he was a researcher. But let me go ahead and pull up that video because there is an interview that I thought was fascinating by someone who knew all of them. And I could say the same thing, but I mean, you'll just hear it's much better when you hear how CJ actually clipped it because you're going to look at some of the other things. Let me find it's here somewhere. I've got like a million tabs open, my brain not being one of them. Let's see. All right. Okay, this is like 5 minutes and 31 seconds, but I'm going to let you look at this because I thought this was very interesting. Let's see. Shay Watson. Base, basement pharmacist, a legend in his own mind. He had quite a business. Yes, and you'll see that too. That's the thing. And my question is something that we're going to talk about when this is, when we get done with this, and I wake up. Is what do you? I want you to be thinking about like what do you think about charges, the kind of charges, and also maybe other extenuating circumstances. Now, I am not giving Jordan Willis a pass at all. Okay, not at all. So don't misunderstand. But I also had to think, and I've never been a substance abuser like ever, ever, ever. Not even in my young, stupid days. Was stupid. Was extremely stupid. But not a substance user. So I can't 100% answer that, but I can say that oh, here comes Sachi. She wants to be a part of the live stream. Hey, Hiawatha. Um but I had to wonder like if I were under the influence and there were things like is there, I guess what I'm asking, is there any circumstances which you think would lessen the situation? Hello. Um, but yeah, let me play. I can't even see Sachi. All right, let me play this.
Yeah.
They all knew him as that.
Whoa!
Sorry, this is my own video.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Okay, Sachi.
Now this guy knows, right?
Well, good morning, my silky friends.
Well, that is not
I
what
just
I meant
got
to
up
do.
and found this bomb.
Hold on. Let me go back to the interview. You don't need to. This is a video I did, so you can find it on my playlist. But this guy that is being interviewed is a friend, and the things that he says and the things, you'll look at the facial expressions and stuff because you'll see
What he brought to the table.
It was easy for them to go have fun. He made a mistake.
What did CJ say the first day?
A lot of times I'm hearing that
No, I can't.
Can y'all see it?
David Clayton and Ricky were like brothers. Jordan was kind of off on the side. True.
Jordan's a chemist.
Okay, wait
bro.
a second.
Jordan's what?
Jordan's a chemist.
Let me stop what I'm doing.
Jordan was off.
Can y'all see this? Okay, Sachi, look, I love you, but you're going to have to get down right now. I'm in a crisis. Can y'all see this? Because it's not. Okay. Is it playing for y'all? Because I looked at it and I wasn't seeing it. Because I don't want you to miss this. Emerald Wonderland. Today it's Silky Kitty Tales, Tales for the channel. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Shay, these were also customers. All right. I guess you can see this. Okay, you can see it. Now, I don't know what's going on here. Because I'm playing this straight from my channel. Oh, this is so annoying.
Off to the side. So he
No,
said
it's not.
the other guys hung out a lot. Jordan was off to the side, and his response is Jordan's the chemist.
All right, literally.
Now the last guy.
I don't know why it's doing this, y'all. I have no idea. Like when I stop it. Okay, look, Sachi. I know. Oh my goodness, you're getting fat. Whenever I try to play it. That is insane. I've never had a problem like this before. All right. I think she left me I think Sachi left me a present I never wanted. Okay. And you gotta love lives, don't you? And I can't get this to play correctly. I don't know why. Why? Why, YouTube? Let me see. I have no idea. Let me try something else. Let me go see if I can go to a direct link. If I can share it to myself and do a direct link. I have no idea. We will get through this. Please tell me we'll get through this, y'all. What? Okay. Let's see. Give me just a second. Okay. Okay. Let's see if this will work. This is from my email. Email. I emailed it to myself. Do I have? I guess I've got all of it in there. All right, let's try this. Back it up just a fuzz. A fuzz. A little bit bigger than a hair. Okay. All right, let's try it
Brought
again.
to the table.
It was easy for them to go have fun. He made a mistake.
What did CJ say the first day?
A lot of times I'm hearing that
No, I can't.
David Clayton and Ricky were like brothers. Jordan was kind of off on the side.
Mhm.
True.
Jordan's a chemist, bro.
Jordan's what?
Jordan's a chemist.
Jordan was off to the side. So he said the other guys hung out a lot. Jordan was off to the side, and his response is, Jordan's a chemist. Now, the last guy that we just watched, he's like, I'm too busy with 2 kids and this and that. You don't want to say what this guy's saying right here. And this guy, no harm, no foul. Like I said on the previous interview we watched, no harm, no foul. This is the guy you need to talk to right here because he's being real. It was easy for them to go have fun. You know what that means? It means it was cheap or free. Day one, he's got his own tolerance because he's not giving it to his friends.
And let me just say right here that I was just reading an article this morning based on the findings of exactly what the result of F and powder, the fairy dust is. And according to a lot of different sources, it is a tolerance thing. And I actually was reading a story on Reddit of how a woman used this combination. She actually built up a tolerance to it, didn't even realize, okay, because she had been using it, I guess, for a while. And then gave some to her friend, absolutely not intending any harm. And the friend OD'd. So yeah, it's something that I don't know. You should know that you're a chemist. But yeah, what this guy is saying is like, look at that expression, and you'll see this. I'm gonna let this play for a minute.
For them to be guinea pigs at first, no, he's going to try it on. He's going to try it himself. The friends couldn't handle it. This guy, he's being real.
A lot of times
He made a mistake. Jordan was the chemist. He's a scientist, right? He does what he needs to do. Now, to use my cousin, my best friend, as a guinea pig?
Oh, so he never, nuh-uh. He said to use my cousin as a guinea pig? What? No way.
Jordan was the chemist. He's a scientist, right? He does what he needs to do.
He does what he needs
Now,
to do. You know what that means, people? Holy, he does what he needs to do. That's code word. It's code for I'm just telling you what he's doing without telling you. And if you know, then you know, and if you don't, you're just gonna be like, oh, he just does. Okay, sure. Whoa,
Jordan was the
man.
chemist.
It's about Alex Lee. What do you know about him?
I know.
Any idea that
Wow, did he just grin? He is. He's look at that. He's grinning. Now he said, now about Alex. Body language speaks volumes. Yeah, he knows what's up. Right?
so you don't think any more attention should be paid on Alex Lee?
Alex Lee is a good name.
Oh.
And also, I noticed, and maybe CJ will say this, but I noticed he looks over towards his right, and it looks like he's looking at somebody in the crowd to me. Is he like, when you have a BFF there and you're like, it's the eye language. You already know what the other person's thinking. Is that what he's doing? I'm not sure.
Alex Lee is a solid. He was one of their best friends forever.
Wow.
Jordan is somebody that is known from high school as like creating drugs for people to make them feel better in certain situations. Okay,
What?
You want to do this? Okay, I'm gonna make this for you. I'm gonna make this for you. I'm gonna
What?
and handing them out.
Hmm.
The police are doing their job.
Whoa.
If it takes time, it takes time. I will never tell them they're not doing what they should be doing. They're doing the best they can. It takes time because you want it to be correct at the end of the day.
So, wow. This is the most shocking out of all the shocking so far when it comes to any of these interviews from families or loved ones. This guy is being real. Shout out. At least he's stepping up and saying something. Like, that's awesome. Shout out to him because he's just being real. And he said he was doing it since high school. Yeah, when there was something wrong, somebody be like, hey, man, well, let me try and make you this. Let me try and make you this. Yo, what do you guys think of this new interview? This is crazy.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. And here's the thing. Yeah, they were friends since high school. So my question is, y'all, okay, I don't even know. Let me go back. I don't even know what I think about. Okay, I definitely don't think that he was asleep. But I'm just wondering what his reasoning would be. Not that any of it's okay, not that he doesn't deserve the charges, and should he be held responsible? Absolutely, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Of course, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. However, if he is proven guilty, do I think? Yeah, I do. But I was trying to put myself in his position. Like, what if you were all using and you were all, not yourselves, and you do fall asleep? What if he didn't know? But there's a lot more to this. But I'm just thinking, if you are in that state and you wake up and you do notice that your friends are in the backyard, but it's too late, like, do you think in that state that you're just questioning your own sanity? Like, no, that was a hallucination. That's clearly not the truth. I mean, and did he, because you find out later in these last reports that it was on a plate in the living room or on a table. I think it was the living room. Anyway, did he like have a shock and then just use again? Did he just keep using during those days? Was it a shock response? Was it like maybe it'll just go away? Like maybe if I do some more, I'm going to wake up and everything's going to be normal? I mean, or because it's hard for me. I mean, I don't know this person. I can tell you some people who claim this is allegedly, so, and it's Reddit, so who knows. There were some people on Reddit that said he was not a good person for all these years that they knew him, and he was, basically a piece of crap. I don't know that that's true, but you would have to be to just ignore it. So, are you trying to almost make yourself believe that, like, if I just wake up, I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to wake up and this is not going to be real? Could that be a possibility? Or was it just shock and grief of, like, I don't know, like, what do you do? What do you do? You're intoxicated. You've got all this stuff in your system. You've got stuff in your house. Like, yeah, you know what's going to happen when you call the police. So, I guess that's my question. Like, what? I don't believe that he ignored or didn't know that people were texting and calling him. That is a bunch of horse feathers. But I guess I'm wondering, what do y'all think his state of mind was? Like, do you think he was just trying to cover it up? I mean, it's not like you can do that forever. The snow will melt. All right. Somebody's going to see the people in the backyard. So, what is your end game? Or are you just, I don't know. Let me see what y'all are thinking. Let me go back. Let me go back a lot. Shay Watson said, I might argue informed consent. We take a chance of adverse reactions every time we swallow an aspirin, technically. Yeah, I mean, and clearly this was not their first rodeo. Hey, Ninja Warrior, good to see you. How you feeling? You doing good? I hope you're doing good. Buckeye, I believe you're a nurse. What would knock out someone for 3 days? Nothing that I know of. Not for 3 days without taking more of it. That's why I think I'm looking at it. Was it a shock factor? Like, because let's say Jordan passed out late Sunday night, and then Monday you're groggy, whatever, and then let's hypothetically say he didn't realize it until sometime on Monday. Then do you just go into shock and just force yourself to sleep? I don't believe he was knocked out. No, I think he put the noise canceling headphones on to, and I mean, maybe it's something that he did to sleep. I don't know, but I think he did it to drown out everything, because if you are in shock and you're got stuff in your system, I'm just thinking you just want it to all go away, like you just want to black it out. I don't know. I mean, that's a possibility. I'm not saying that. I mean, he could have, who knows? But I'm just trying to think, because a substance isn't going to knock you out for that long. Shock, a combination of shock and, like, whatever, could make you even maybe have a little bit of psychosis. I don't know if he's ever had that before, or induced psychosis. I don't know. Like, either something is really wrong or you're just completely heartless. Now, which one is it? Because I don't know. But especially if you know that you have been mixing substances for friends for years, and then you realize something has gone horribly wrong, could it send you into a mentally a very bad place? I think it could. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine what I would do. I don't even know. Maybe he was just taking time to get his head, like, think. What am I supposed to do? Like, what? I don't even know. Like, I don't know. Let's see. Angel says he looks scared. He probably is. Hello, V. Good morning. So the 3 passed away of the F, with a mixture of the white powder. It was both. Um, this is why there are regulators. Yeah, regulations. Yes. Um, Now my question also is because and let me just bring this up too because I see this a lot in my area. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people in my area even though we're not a big city. A lot of people that I see that I know from various things, whether it's from the jail or whether from some of the other things I participated in, I unfortunately have a lot of people that I know that suddenly pass. Boom, you just get the news. It goes around Facebook, it goes, whatever. Did you know that so and so passed? It's horrible. Y'all know I've said I worked with Celebrate Recovery for long, many, many, many years. And you would think somebody was doing good, and then it just goes around. You get a text, hey, so and so died. And most of them were not on purpose. I don't know that any of them were on purpose. But and I was watching, God, can't play it now because I can't get anything to play. But there was another live stream that we did back last year where somewhere in it, we were talking about the potential. And I see this as well because from some of the family members, they said that the leafy green smoky stuff was something that some of these guys did. I don't know if all of them did that, but what if it was the combo was sprinkled on that? What if they knew or they didn't know, or if it was just an enhancer? You know, you have to think, how did they ingest it? And is that why they were outside? That was a very good theory. Maybe they all walked outside. Okay, they didn't have. I know Ricky Johnson didn't have a coat on, so you're burning up like you're hot. You've been, the game. You're moving around. You're hot. Like I know here in the South we have football parties, and it can be 30 degrees outside, but we're all moving around in the house and you're like, gosh, it's hot in here. Let me step outside for just a minute because, whoo, I need some cold air. And what if you went out to smoke a leafy and you didn't realize how potent the enhancement was? And then all of a sudden, you just start fading. You pass out. With the big F, it's so quick. It can be, okay? It can be so quick. As a matter of fact, I just had this situation recently where somebody comes into my facility and they're like, okay, they are so woo out there, but this is what they were taking, and it was the F. And, here's the thing that I see with that particular, and most of ours are combos. Also, it's not usually the powder, it's usually the upper that everybody manufactures. It's usually a combo of those, but it can be anything. But I see them coming in and they're like out of their heads. If you are able to test them, if they're cooperative enough to let you know what's in their system, you see both of them. And uh, while 1 minute, literally 1 minute, they can be jumping around, they're usually not happy, but because it's jail, but they're very active. And then literally you can check them out and everything's fine. Literally, like a few minutes later, they're on the floor unconscious, not breathing, because it's just, I don't know, the way it hits, the combination that it is. You can't trust if somebody comes in and, the officers are like, okay, what are you on? And because you're already in jail, you're already arrested. So, like, please tell me what this is. And if you are lucky enough for them to tell you what it is they took, that's great. But when you hear that one word, that is very unstable. With some of the other things, you're not going to be that unstable. You're going to continue until you start coming down. All right. That one, it's like playing Russian roulette. You're fine now. 30 minutes later, you are no longer with us. You see what I'm saying? So, what if they went out and they had a little sprinkle on what they were smoking, and all of a sudden you can't move. Like it hits you so fast that you're basically not breathing. Um, did that happen to all of them because they were out sharing something? I don't know. Is that how it happened? I have to think that depending on what all they found in their system, that is, in my head, a possibility. Not saying that somebody's not responsible, but all right, let me see what y'all are saying. Emerald says, I've seen people sleep a long time after being. Yes, I've seen them sleep a long time, but I wouldn't say I've seen them sleep. They may, okay, they may sleep for a couple of days, but not consistently. Like they will get up, they will go to the bathroom, they'll walk around, scratch their head, whatever, and then, you know, go back and lay down. And the fact that when Jordan Willis came to the door, he had not defecated or urinated on himself. He was there with a glass of wine. That's great. Let's add some more to it. So there was obviously periods of lucidity. Okay, even if he was tired and he did sleep a lot, he was not knocked out for 2 days. Ninja Warrior, oh, you're getting your port in Thursday and starting chemo next week. Okay, look, prayers to you. Prayers to you. You let us know how you're doing. Okay, I've thought about you a lot. I'm not just saying that. I really have. I've thought about you a lot. Wondered how you're doing. Shay says, I've been in bed, mostly asleep for days, aside from bathroom, etc. But when I get up for bathroom breaks, I never patrol my house for guests. I go back to bed. I don't either, but even when I get up in the middle of the night, and even if I'm sleeping hard, and you're the bladder wakes you up. And so when I get up, I mean, I'm stumbling around. I'm not gonna like look outside. No. But even if I'm up, and I'm gonna at least look at my phone. Okay. I'm gonna at least, even if I don't care who has texted me, because look, don't text me when I'm asleep, because I'm not gonna answer you. It's just not gonna happen. I'm just gonna be like, yeah, when I wake up, I'm going to yell at you. But because you know better. If you know me, you know better. Unless it's an emergency, of course. If it is, that's fine. But yeah, I look up, I pick up my phone, I see what time it is. All right. And on most phones, you have, it'll scroll across the top. You'll have, well, okay, well, so and so called you. Well, even if I am just picking up my phone to look at the time, it's going to tell me that, your friend Jane has called you 32 times. What? Okay. That is alarming, you know. And so many people were blowing up his phone. Like, how did you not know? Can understand you not hearing it. But at some point, you have to pick up your phone and say, oh my God, what is going on? I mean, that's my thought. Yes, Hiawatha, that is also something that is a potential. Maybe he did just as much as they did and survived. Yeah, because of the tolerance. If he did it more than them and he mixed it, whatever, tried out his own stuff, then yeah, what is a tolerance for him could have literally unalived everybody else in his house. And, I don't know. Maybe he wasn't thinking. I'm not saying that. I don't at least from what I have been able to gather from what people are saying throughout this thing, I don't know what kind of person he was. Like, I don't know if he was as bad as people on Reddit have said. But in any case, I don't believe that it was with malicious intent. Like, okay, I'm going to invite these guys over and I'm going to unalive them all. I don't think that was it at all. There is absolutely nothing that I've read or seen interviews on that people would suggest that. I think it was accidental. Um, it's just the question is, I think, and this is the reason for the whole lawsuit, is you didn't render aid. Now, even if you had fallen asleep, passed out about the same time everybody else did, and you didn't find him till the next day, it would have been too late. But you should have at least called 911 then. I mean, would you have faced some charges? Probably. Probably. I mean, I don't know. Like a good attorney, like, look, we all did this stuff. We were all in it together. I just happened to be inside and they went outside for some reason. And like, we're all victims of our own mistakes. Uh, yeah, I think they're definitely, because you have to think, if he was supplying, and he had been, according to that video that we just watched, he was supplying people from the time he was like way younger. He had a friend in school that was going through a certain thing. He would like to make up drugs, like, to help the situation. Are you depressed? Are you just, what you need? Let me make it for you. So he was very, he had been doing this for a long time. So do you, I assume, have to sample things to know what effect they're going to have? I would think so. Are you telling me you're going to play around in all this stuff, but you're never going to use? I don't buy that either. So I think that he did on the regular, whether it was for taste testing purposes or just because of an addiction. I don't know. Let's see. Emerald says, wow, that would be really effed up. Just think you're smoking bud and got strangely hot and step out. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's tragic. It is tragic. And but you still have to consider the families. You still have a loss. Honestly, if you're all doing something stupid, like let's say you're all, jumping off of a cliff into the water, and one of you falls wrong and passes away, it's a collective bad decision. Nobody's responsible. Y'all all, should have known better. But in this case, I think there is more to it, even though, like I said, I do not believe that Jordan Willis did this with intent to unalive. I just think, and we're going to talk about what Jordan has done this last year, and I think that kind of plays into the way I feel too. Hiawatha says there was a mass OD in downtown Indy a few days ago. I saw that. They thought they were smoking the green stuff and it had been laced. I honestly did see that, Hiawatha. One of the times in my brief times of being any kind of media aware, I was scrolling through X and I was like, good God. Because isn't that, I think I saw the first pictures where there was like a lot of police cars and stuff in this one area, and I didn't know what happened. I'm like, what the heck is going on in Indianapolis? And then I did see later somebody comment on that saying what it was, and I'm like, good gracious. I mean, it could happen and does happen everywhere. But yeah, that just goes to show you how you don't know. You just don't know. Okay, yeah. So I didn't know this. I'm gonna throw this up here. Four of them went to the hospital in critical condition, but they've since recovered, and since they're homeless, probably not in the hospital anymore. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad. Um, yes, Ninja Warrior. They all knew he was the scientist and knew what he was known for. Absolutely. I mean, again, and if he had been a horrendous person, I don't think they would have trusted him. I mean, like, look, if you're going to do something and it's illegal, but you've been using this person for years and they're your personal friend and have been, I mean, you're going to feel safe, aren't you? Okay, I'm not going to go buy something from some guy I don't know unless that person is a true addict and they have just lost the ability to care. They're going to take the chance. But if you are more recreational with it, because all these guys had jobs and I mean, careers, like if you're going to use it recreationally, you are going to be more picky about where you get it. Like, okay, we're just gonna party. But we know it's safe because we know Jordan, we've been getting stuff like he knows what he's doing, you know? So that makes complete sense to me. Um, yeah, and you're right, Shay. That's why they were partying at his house. Absolutely. And they trusted him. Oh, hello, Samantha. It's okay. It's okay. Y'all know I rarely have a problem with trolls. Uh, my mods have it the easiest, I think. Every once in a while, we have a guest that makes us, that we get trolled on, but most of the time, I have the best chat in the world. Um, let's see. Yes, very good point, Buckeye. He had the wherewithal to pour a glass of wine. Guy's definitely sus. Yeah. Again, nefarious intent? I don't think so, but I think if you're pouring yourself a glass of wine and standing there in your underwear, well, that's not a great decision knowing that the police are at your door. Well, maybe you didn't have time to put on pants, but sir, didn't you have time to get rid of the wine? You just gonna come out there in your drawers, you know, with a glass in the middle of the day? Hey, y'all. I mean, it makes no sense, right? It doesn't make sense. So, I know I get too close to the mic sometimes. I'm trying to stay still because my camera likes to stay, like, it has to refocus. And y'all know I'm not a still person. Um, yeah. But yeah, that's definitely sus. Okay, let me go on. Shay says, I'm not excusing anything he did, but I see how he didn't know it. Yeah, I did see, I do, I can see it both ways. Okay, I can see if he didn't. I can also see if he did but didn't respond. I just lost my phone over a month ago and have not missed it one bit. It's possible he didn't check his because he just wasn't open. I don't know. I mean, if you're a scientist, if you're a researcher, you're gonna have a cell phone. I mean, you got to have a way for people to reach you. But I don't know what kind of person was he. Um, but as you find out the news about how he had a regular dealer, Mr. Ivory Carson, well, if you are a business person with suppliers, you're going to have a phone. You might have 2 or 3 phones. You might have a burner phone. You might have something, but at some point, you are going to have to keep up with messages from important people like that, right? If you're in that lifestyle of mixing chemicals. Wow, that's hard to it's hard to say things without saying them. Um Good morning, Roberta. Yeah, his stories never made sense. I think it was unintentional, but the story he's come up with, um, yeah, uh, yeah, you're right, Roberta. It doesn't make sense. Um, that's my thing. Is and why doesn't it? Is it why doesn't it make sense? Is it because he's a liar, or is it because he had other factors like shock and substances going on? I don't know. Shay says he's in trouble, and rightfully so. I agree. But he got comfortable like so many doctors who prescribe and don't monitor the patient, commonly seen in school perpetrators. Yeah. I agree. I agree. Monitoring, well, with doctors, honestly, you have they have too many patients. They just do. It's not even I don't even think the integrity is there. Um to say, you know what, I have this many patients who are like psychiatrically or who are taking a psych medicine. Let me monitor them closely. No, they don't. And I've worked in doctors' offices, many of them. You know, they expect the nurse to ask the questions before you even get in the room to talk to the doctor. The nurse or the medical assistant or whoever is triaging you asks you, you know, have you been having any problems? They ask you some standard questions. But here's the thing, when you work in a clinic and you are triaging about 100 plus patients a day and you've got to get it done, like you've got to stay on a schedule, like you are not, even triage is not, unless the patient says something completely bizarre, like, yeah, you know, I broke out with these green spots everywhere. And, you know, then maybe somebody's going to say, "Huh? What?" I mean, if you say just mild things like, "Yeah, I don't know if this medicine is working. I'm still depressed," or, you know, you say some of the generic stuff, they're going to put it in little notes. The doctor is not also going to really go in depth. Even if he or she notices, oh, okay, they don't think this medicine is working, they're only going to go so far because they are allotted a certain amount of time. If you want to see all the patients that are coming in today, you have a and I'll just say this, I've worked at some clinics where if the doctor, because there were multiple doctors and the person that runs the clinic said if you are in that room over 2 to 3 minutes with that patient, like this is a huge problem. You cannot stay. Okay, 2 to 3 minutes, you're not going to get anywhere. Come on. What kind of medical is that? And likewise, the nurses and the med assistants, they don't have the time either because they got the same 100 patients coming through that they have to process. Whereas the doctor may see 35, 40 of them, sometimes before lunch. You're going to see the ones for all of the practitioners. So before lunch, I may see 80, 90. How much time do I have to triage somebody? Not very much. Okay? It's terrible. Um let's see. Okay, are you talking Hiawatha? Are you talking about Indy? The TikTok showing the police going through their pockets before medical got there? I'm assuming you're talking about the Indianapolis thing. Um I'm sorry, I'm looking. Yeah, Hiawatha. I can see him wanting it to go away. I can honestly see him, like I said, just like being in some kind of shock. Imagine you've been doing this for years. You've been supplying your friends with your concoctions. It's almost like a cocktail, you know? if we were talking about things that are legal, oh, okay, let me make you a drink. I know you love strawberries, and I know you love some melon, and I know you love grenadine. Hey, let me mix you up a concoction. And then you're already, it's just a different kind of thing, right? So let me put this together. He's been doing this for years. As far as we know, there's never been this problem. So then all of a sudden, you come back into your own semi sanity, groggy, whatever, and you realize people are not alive. Like, do you just go into like shock? No, no, this didn't happen. No, no. I mean, I can see that too. I really can. I can really see that. And depends on what shape he was in mentally and emotionally and how much substances he took in a day or week. Like, where were you at to start with? Because we don't know, you know, the process of where you were and that kind of. I'm going to go ahead and call it an addiction, even if it's recreational. Because if you're, and I'm not saying that for necessarily all of his friends, but if you are the miracle maker, okay, the chemist, I'm going to say you've got an addiction because you are so focused on what these substances can do and you take them yourself. Yeah, it's a real problem. That could be true too, Shay. It's the legend mindset that he was ultra cool in his own mind. Yeah, he could have definitely uh, been very almost narcissistic. Like, oh, I'm the best. Uh, I'm not going to hurt anybody. I can do this. Yes. At the end of the day, 100%, Samantha. At the end of the day, he made up illegal whatever. Those people passed away. They aren't coming back. He should be accountable for that. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. He should be accountable. And I think that is, okay, let me tell you from the other articles that I read. Okay, because if you remember last year, after all this came down and everybody's looking into it and everybody, is saying like we did, like, what the heck? What the actual heck is going on with you? What happened here? This doesn't make sense. Well, he moved out. Like a week later, he moved out of his house and we were like, what? Like, how? Why? Like, isn't that sus? Okay, to me, that's sus. Now, Jordan Willis immediately moved out of his house and he went into rehab. Okay. And I heard on the Nancy Grace report, I heard somebody, because Nancy was like, yeah, well, why did it take that to get into rehab? Well, I would say to her, Nancy, then you obviously do not and have not studied the addiction process. Because even though I've never been an addict, I have been around many, many of them. Are they going to just wake up one day and the sun is shining and everything's good and they're going to say, you know what? I think I'm going to break my addiction today. I'm going to go take myself into rehab because, yeah, the sun's shining. I feel like, yeah, I should probably do that. No, they're not. Not ever, not one time. Not ever, not one time. They are going to have a tragedy, hit rock bottom, lose a relationship, lose something. They have to have pain and loss to make them go to rehab. Now, sometimes it's because the judge says, well, you can spend, 9 months in jail or you can go to rehab. And they're like, well, I'll take rehab. They're not going to get better. Probably not. Some of them might. But that jail to treatment, and we do it all the time, jail to treatment is not probably going to work unless they already had a circumstance at the time that they were arrested. Like, were you arrested because you were in an accident and your friend passed away that was with you? Even if it's not vehicular homicide, what if you just lost somebody or something tragic happened? Then, yeah, you already had that. You got to have that wake up call. And so, the fact that he turned himself in and he checked himself into rehab suggests, it could be a way to avoid the law. But it also could be because he realized, oh my God, my good friends that I've had for all these years literally passed away in my yard and I didn't do anything or I didn't know or whatever the truth is. Yeah, I'm thinking that would definitely be a reason to go into rehab. And I mean, good for him. Good for him. Um, and the article that I read went on to say how he is, he's lost everything, his job, his house, his friends. Yeah. I mean, do I still think that the lawsuit of not rendering aid is viable? Yeah, I do. I do. It's sad, but you have to think it's worse. I mean, if it was unintentional on his part, it is tragic and it's sad. But it's even worse for the families who lost their brothers, cousins, fiancés, sons, whatever, best friends. I mean, that's even worse. So I mean, I'm not saying I'm completely unsympathetic for Jordan Willis. No. No, he made really bad decisions. And should he have to face the consequences of those decisions? Yes. Do I hate him? No. Well, first, personally, I don't even know him. But secondly, just the circumstance. I'm not going to say he's a monster. I'm just not. I'm going to say I wish he had had the opportunity to hit his rock bottom prior to this. Should he be held accountable? Absolutely. Absolutely. You took the lives of 3 people. And Ivory Carson, the supplier, goes without saying. I mean, you know what you're doing's wrong. You know what can happen. Uh, she's so that's where you just said he should be accountable. He should be accountable. If in case any of y'all all missed that, I'm not saying he should be barbecuing people in the backyard. Oh, that's funny. Um, yeah, he should be accountable. The other is illegal, as far as I know. Although I've heard stories of things that happen in the U.S., and I'm like, that's a whole nother one. Remember that? Actually, I don't even remember it. My daughter had to tell me, and I've since seen it. Okay, completely tiny bit off the subject about the guy who was willingly consumed by another person. He's like, yeah, I like, I think it was from Craigslist. There's a whole. If you haven't heard that, I caught the brief of it, and I'm like, you know what? I can't. I just can't cover this. This is just, even for me, this is too dark. What is wrong with you that you are like saying, "Hey, I want to be somebody's dinner"? But it happened. It absolutely happened. In a case like that, it's kind of like, who do you blame? Is the person who consumed him 100% guilty when he said, "Please do this"? Like, whoa, you get into all kind of crazy areas in that one. So yeah, if you don't need to know, just don't. But it is a real case. Um, Rehab is usually just a place to meet hookups. Sometimes. Roberta says, "I remember that story." Yeah, it's insane, absolutely insane. All right, so we'll follow it and see what happens with these developments. I think it's going to be a while before. I'm sure it'll be a while before there's a trial. I don't even know that there'll be a trial. It might be a settlement. Do I think that they have a good case for both involuntary manslaughter? Yes, that one I think Okay, of the two cases that Jordan Willis has, is one is involuntary manslaughter. Do I think that that one has uh is gonna, he's gonna be absolutely have to serve time? I think so. I think unless there is something we don't know, I think absolutely Carson and Willis will both have to face the penalty of some kind on that. Um, the one brought by the family for failure to render aid, it depends on the details. Do I think he was lying through his teeth in the beginning about what happened? Yeah, I do. I think he was just making crap up. Oh, I didn't see him. I didn't know. I didn't hear my phone. I was asleep. I think that's all BS, all of it. But what is the truth? Because is the truth, yeah, I was just trying to decide what I'm going to do. Um, is the truth, yeah, like I knew they were gone. I didn't call. Or is the truth somewhere like I was having a mental breakdown and in shock, and I really didn't know what to do. I mean, I think it's going to get into a lot of interesting areas. If he sticks with his initial story of I just didn't hear the phone, I didn't hear the people knocking on the door, beating on the door, I didn't hear. I'm gonna say BS. You're just full of it, and you haven't learned a thing. But that's just my opinion. So we'll have to follow that and see what happens. All right. See, we completely got off off track. See how the ADHD works? Like it goes from one thing to another. I heard about the whole cannibal thing. I guess if someone was in their right mind and wanted that, okay. But would someone in their right mind want that? Well, yeah, that'd be my argument. Clearly, they're not in their right mind, but are they? I don't know. There's some people out here that I would say no, but what would a jury say? It depends. We've seen weird stuff happen. All right. Hiawatha, I think Jordan Willis spent a very long time in rehab. I like some of them. Some rehabs are for a long period of stay, and I believe that is the majority of what he has been doing this past year. I am not going to say this out loud, but I am going to throw this up there. This, I know what Shay is saying sounds completely impossible. I will challenge you to look it up. Because when I heard about this, I was like, no way, no way. That's completely illegal. That doesn't happen. That's impossible. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. I am horrified. But yes, it is a thing. It is a thing. All right. Which leads me to all kinds of, questions and fears. New fears unlocked. Sorry, let me try to adjust sometimes what is on my hand? What is that? I'm trying to get I don't know what, y'all, with cameras. They're crazy. This one's got a little bit of a better color. But it likes to autofocus. And all right, let's do something else. Hey, Roberta, I'm in California and have never heard of that. Yeah, I promise you, I thought it was made up stuff. I literally did. I really just, I didn't. It's not. I've read so many sources on this. How do they do it? I don't know. I really don't. Unless it's like this guy and they're like, all these people are willing. I thought it was illegal. I don't know. But it is a thing. Unfortunately. God, I'm pale and puffy. Maybe I'll come on tomorrow and look like a human. But I just wanted to talk to y'all. All right, let's look at something else because I did make a video on this, but I know a lot of you follow this or followed me with this. So let's change it up just a second. Okay, Roberta said they're permanently closed. I'm guessing, it's been more than a hot minute that they were open. Okay, Roberta, it was for a while. And Shay said it's legal. The source is donated via request of the person. So there you go. I still don't understand how it is legal, but I bet if they're closed, another one opened. You know what I'm saying? People are sick. There's sick people out here. Yeah, Samantha, I'm a little bit surprised you hadn't heard of it, but yeah, ugh. Look, they had a website that had a menu. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And I was just, I literally thought it was a parody page. I was like, this is just somebody. This is a parody. This is like, Saturday Night Live. This is like, you know, And when I really started diving into it, of course, nothing that I've ever talked about online, I was horrified to find out it wasn't. It was real. Um, okay, but um, let's go to our old buddy JP. Did y'all follow? I know a, a lot of y'all were watching when was it? Spring, summer? Oh my God. This year has been a doozy. Uh, and I did a report. This one comes from Julie Royce. I love the Royce report. I just do. So let me share this with you. And this is her take on it. Let me reframe this. Okay. There we go. Oh wow, we've been talking about that for an hour and a half. Jeez, y'all. I'm just a chatterbox today. I guess because I've been by myself mostly the last 3 days. Been working completely by myself. And I guess I just needed to yap. All right, but let's look at this one. Boy, I tell you what. Now, I'll tell you this. In spite of what Jordan Willis did or, whatever, the whole thing, I've got way more potential. I'm not saying I'm real compassionate, but I've got way more potential for compassion for Jordan Willis than I do for this piece of crap right here. It just gets worse and worse. I have no tolerance for him because I understand. I want to say he knows better. He was taught better, but clearly he wasn't because he comes from a line of perpetrators. So, I mean, that's the only slack I can give him. But look, you are not an idiot. Well, maybe, but technically, I guess not. I can't. I can't. All right. If you were watching when I was following the Micah Miller case, I do not believe, this is just my opinion, allegedly, I do not believe that she unalived herself all by herself. Where she did with the type of weapon that it's not. Like, look, you got to be a better criminal than this. If you had chosen another route, another place, another method, it would have been more believable. No. Women don't do this the way that she did it. Okay, but let's see. A second lawsuit has been filed against controversial Pastor John Paul Miller, accusing him of essaying a woman decades ago when she was 14. Because, victim Jane Doe number 1 was 15. This one was 14. The alleged assault occurred at a school Miller ran as a hunting area for underage females. And that's exactly what it was. It was just hunting grounds. I'm going to say not just for JP, but his daddy as well. Maybe of a different gender. I don't even know, because that's stories about that. Y'all know. That's off the charts. Whatever. The assault reportedly happened in the late 1990s when Miller taught at his father's former Christian school, Cathedral Hall Academy, according to the lawsuit. All right. And I'm not going to go through the exact what happened. I'm like in detail, okay? Because I find it very upsetting. But remember, just a few days ago, an Indiana woman, Jane Doe 1, brought a lawsuit for allegedly essaying her when she was a minor. And then, not too long after that, see, that's the beautiful thing, though. That's the beautiful thing about victims is once one person, and I'm not saying that sometimes it's not made up crap, like, your people are out to get you. Look, that has happened. But with JP, like, you've got so much from so many different things, not having anything to do with this. It's like, even by his own admission, it's like, they're not trying to make you look bad. Like, you already did that yourself over many years. Like, come on. This ain't brand new information. This isn't you were a sterling character, a white knight beyond reproach, and all of a sudden these people are coming out accusing this. No. You've been something else for years and years, decades. Like, this is just like almost like, well, okay, there's another one. All right. Yeah. Not a shocker. But when one person finds the courage, especially when you were that young, like 14, 15 and younger, like, it's so hard to talk about, to admit. Like, I understand why these young victims never say anything. Like, you're terrified. There's so many emotions going on with these victims, and you really just want it to go away. And what you don't realize is that it's never going to go away. And the more you try to keep it in the back of your mind, the more you try to get on with life and just not deal with it, not think about it. Oh, that didn't happen. Or I can, that's over. I'm okay. As you get older, you realize you're not okay. You never were okay. You just thought you were okay because you were pushing it somewhere else. So then, after many instances, as you're growing older, you realize that you should have had the courage. Like, now you have grown into the courage to tell the truth. And that is so true of so many victims. And then when there hasn't been a victim speaking out first, you know that you're going to catch all the fire. Like, people are going to discredit you. People are going to say things about you. They're going to lie about you. They're going to bring up anything that you ever did, even if it was willing, and they're going to crucify you with it, because that's what people do. All right. So Jane Doe 1 was extremely courageous. She didn't want her name out there. I get that. But as soon as she came out, then look, it kind of opens the floodgates. It's like you all automatically, Jane Doe 2 knows that she's not alone, because she hears this story and she knows, oh my God, this happened to somebody else. It wasn't just me. And now it gives you more confidence. You have somebody to bond with. And that is the beautiful thing about somebody speaking up. Okay, so the latest one basically says this happened. Yeah, there's the old Solid Rock. They sold that, by the way. What did he make, y'all? 2.4 million, 2.2 million, 2.4 million, something like that. Oh my God. I bet you if those walls could talk. But at the time he was 19, she was 14. Basically, this was in his dad's school, and I'm just going to give you the Reader's Digest version. Um, it was after class. He started playing the piano, like musicians, and this is why. I mean, I am a musician, but this is why I don't date musicians. Okay, I have. It's a bad idea. There's something about music and musicians that is just very charming to girls. Um, and it's like, I don't know, it's like moths to the flame. So of course he goes over, he starts playing the piano, right? Oh, oh, the moth, the moth. And so he calls her over there and she's enjoying that, and he reaches in for a hug as Christian people do, and his hands begin to slide where they shouldn't, underneath and next to the skin. Okay, I'm gonna just leave it at that. And so what happened is, of course, she was shocked. And let's say she, at the time, I'm trying to think, she did have the courage, and this is in 1999. Yeah, this happened in 1999. She did have the courage to go talk to, report it. Okay, JP essayed me. Basically, his dad, Wayne Miller, brought her into the office with him standing there. Okay, first of all, that's intimidation. Like, are you really going to be able to say anything? They're probably both looking at you, like it with intimidation. I have no doubt. I really don't. These, both of them are a piece of work. But anyway, it says, when she was sent to his office, when she arrived, John Paul was sitting beside his father. His father demanded she repeat her accusation. And of course, after she did, Reginald supposedly yelled at her, "You will not lie about my son. Not my boy." Why? Because you're doing the same thing, Wayne Miller. Yeah. Where do you think he learned it from? Of course, they didn't all know that at that time. So he punished her for lying by requiring her to write the words, "I will not lie about John Paul Miller," 5,000 times. I I don't know. Like, I was way more compliant at that age. I would have definitely um been less aggressive. But even at that age, I don't know if I would have written that 5,000 times. I now I can't imagine. Oh, I can't imagine what I'd say and do now. But even at that age, I would have had a real problem with it. I don't think I wouldn't have been as compliant. But anyway, following this, Dotu was regularly bullied by other students at school who took their cues from the Millers. Of course. Of course, because they were, golden. They ran the school. This was the pastor. This was his son. Don't lie about them. And so they get in on the bullying. I mean, can you imagine? Oh my God. I cannot imagine the torment. I mean, I can. I had a totally different situation, but I can understand the bullying. I really, really can. And I can only say it had to be sheer out hell for her. While in a music class taught by JP, two girls allegedly grabbed Doe and ripped open her shirt so they could stuff tissues into her undergarments, according to the complaint. Miller was present and laughed. Oh, I can see that. I can see that. She also alleges that throughout her years at school, Students slapped her, pulled her hair, shoved her in bathroom stalls, and sprayed bug spray into her mouth and eyes. Through it all, Miller was there smirking, encouraging, watching. Okay, I can't talk about this because I can't say some of this. Um, Look, you know what? There's a lot of people I just really dislike, but I don't think there's anybody that makes me. I didn't say anything. It goes through my head though. It goes through my head. What you want to do? I'm sorry. I gotta stop before I get in trouble. I just can't. You know, the old expression, you just want to slap the smirk off of somebody's face. Yeah. That's the response it gets. I wouldn't do it, of course. But you know, we all daydream. Um okay, yeah. So she just kept on getting and I said this in my video, she got bullied for having a Harry Potter book, whatever. You know, that was a big thing. So yeah, it says Jane Doe is seeking a trial by jury and damages on grounds of negligence, civil conspiracy, assault and battery, and reckless infliction of emotional distress. And I think she should get that jury trial. I hope, with all of my being, all of my heart and soul, I hope that there are like Jane Doe 1, 2, 3, 4, down to 14, 25, 36. I hope you all have one big old court case. And I hope you win. Hope you win. Okay. Let me come up with what y'all let me get to what y'all are saying. Why isn't JP in jail yet? Yeah, that's my question. Why isn't he? That's a question. Hey, nobody, nothing. Good to see you. I like your. I'm looking at your picture. The Tales of Bridgefoot. Hello, Robin. Just Robin. Yes. True musicians have certain power beyond charisma. Music has spiritual properties. However, the devil is in what magic the musicians choose to weave. I agree. I know that's kind of a lot, maybe a mouthful for some of you. I agree. There are I have seen so many people, and the fact that is that's what makes this lawsuit even more believable to me than just the fact that I think he's guilty of so much, in my opinion. I know that there is a certain quality that musicians have, and so I can see somebody being drawn in. It makes so much sense, so much sense. Um, okay, Shay, I'm not sure. There has just been a huge lawsuit opening for child victims of this while in state care. My son is now 26 and he just cannot fathom standing in court giving testimony of what he experienced. And I'm not sure. I know your story or somewhat of your story. I'm not sure exactly uh what lawsuit that is. That's interesting though. But yeah, and that will only help all of the cases for victims. Um, let's see. I do too. Yeah. Kids are indoctrinated from day one to respect and obey authority, which is the abusers. Yeah. I that is definitely the thing, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't respect, like, learning respect to your parents and authority is important, but I think equally important should be uh, teaching your kids that not all authority. I mean, it's a fine line, you know. If you have great parents, um, you believe authority is one thing, but I think we should also teach our kids that not all authority is correct, and it's okay to question. You know, it's it's difficult. It's difficult for a kid to maneuver around, you know, what is okay and what's not. Sure, we want them to have respect, but do we also want them to be able to speak up without fear and call out, you know, criminal activity? Yeah, absolutely. I hope her parents believed her. Yeah, me too, Roberta. I don't know. It didn't say. Um, pray that it will be open court and she has dozens of supporters there for her. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm interested. All right, tell me. I am. We've been going for a while. It's actually going to be warm here today, so I'm excited about like going out in the sunshine and seeing like nature today. Um, I am definitely going to be talking about Nashville. Are y'all interested in? I know somebody in chat the other day said they were interested in Ladybird Lake. that is a whole that is a whole series. Like because there's so many victims. There's literally so much. Some that I think are 100%. They have the exact same MO. Some have other explanations. You don't know if it is or if it isn't. Is this part of the body count? But it's huge. And what really bothers me is the practice of people being served things they didn't order in bars. And I mean, I know there's always some criminal intent in some people, okay? Some people are always going to harm other people in whatever way they choose to do that. But I guess what I'm saying is we're seeing such massive amounts and in Nashville for sure. And even some people in Austin are saying it is certain places, certain bars. And when I started looking, because I've studied so much with the Riley Strain thing about Nashville and listened to a lot of people, when I just started this weekend briefly listening to people in Austin talk about the Rainy Street, they call him the Rainy Street Ripper. Um, I was like, you know, that's exactly the same thing that these people in Nashville said. Like, clearly two different, but it's like the exact same thing. So I, you know, it kind of crosses, but it is a very very big deal. Um, want to talk about that? Are there any other crime? Hey, the other thing that Kentucky sheriff that unalived the judge, like there's more stuff about it. That's a whole interesting thing. Like, what the heck? It almost, if you think about it, Delphi people, it almost like the things that were happening in that judge's chambers is like, doesn't that sound like something Fouts would do? Like, I could see that happening. And then what if, you know, I'm like, okay, Kentucky and Indiana right there together. Uh, I'm like, did we have a weird situation there too? It sounds like it. Very interesting case. Tell me what you want to hear. Because there's literally so much. And then all the outside news that I will still be, as I can, putting on Rumble. I'll do that. Let's see. You are correct. Yes. Well, I know you know you're correct. But I remember this nobody nothing. I remember my mom telling me this. How she had listened to, I guess it was a testimony or something of John Todd, put out some crazy stuff about the music industry and how everything goes to the altar room, and in the late 70s and early 80s until he disappeared. Yes, yes. He did an expose of the music industry. That's very interesting too, right? See, there's so many things to talk about. Could just go from one rabbit hole to the next. But yeah, I remember her having, this is back in the days. Oh my gosh. She had something on, you remember the cassette tapes before the CDs and stuff? She had something on a cassette tape. And it was, I guess, a testimony or him talking until, yeah, he disappeared, was unalive, something. He was talking about all that. Now, okay, that was a scandal, right? Back all those, excuse me, now I got the hiccups. All those years ago, that was a huge scandal and he disappeared. Now you have people literally just saying it on interviews and stuff. Like, it's out there. It ain't no secret anymore. Go look it up. You'll see all kind of crazy interviews and about artists who say that they conjure this and that, for their albums. So, like, yeah, it's no secret anymore. Okay, Buckeye, yeah, there, I agree. Something is going on at Ladybird, far worse than some of the other things that we've covered because it's such mass scale. I feel like the same thing is like, I think you have a lot more people that I have found covering Austin and Ladybird than you do Nashville. I see more of Nashville people on TikTok telling stories, and we're going to listen to some of those. I'm definitely going to do a live. I've got some information. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, or I don't even know what day is today or tomorrow and when I work again, but we'll do a live on that either day or night because I want to get enough stuff that I can show you these people talking about what is going on. Yeah, nothing is going to change until we make enough noise. Somebody does something, right? I'm still not 100% settled with Riley's passing and the way that they said it is. I mean, could it be? Yes, it could. It could equally not be. And there are just a few nagging things. Having spent so many hours standing in the spot that he went over or walking past it or whatever, I I still am not okay with he was completely by himself. I'll just put it that way. Do I think he was completely alone and nobody saw or heard anything? And this, I just don't physically seeing it happen that way. But, you know, I mean, I don't know what I can do. Oh my gosh. Well, Shay, I thought you were gonna email me something. Um, the Department of Education has already gotten laws passed that have removed parental rights, and nobody even knows that. Oh my God! Wow. Yeah. Email me whatever. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Um, just Robin. Been wrapped up in the Micah Miller case since its beginning. It's hard to move my attention elsewhere. Yeah, I understand because that's the way I was with Delphi. And I will tell you this, Micah Miller's case could have been one that I could have. I'm not saying I'm not very, very affected and not very deep into because I am. But it's like if you've ever been over your head in a case like I was with Delphi, it's like, I had to say, okay, I can feel very strongly about this, but I can't let it get a hold of me the way Delphi has. Never again. But I have not changed my opinion. I'll just tell you this, Robin. I haven't changed my opinion since I started. if you go back to, and like, I don't have very many viewers on those videos, all right? You go back to what I did a year ago, you will see that way before, and it's not because I know anything. I'm not that brilliant. It's just it's the gut. It's the gut that tells you what you feel like. In the very beginning, I did not believe, even when they said she unalived herself. I was very upset. I actually heard about that case from somebody who sent me a private message on Discord and said, "Hey, I just heard about this." It was like just a couple of days after JP had made his announcement. And they're like, "Hey, I can't cover this, but I think you should. I think you should look into it." And, I was kind of like, maybe. Let me see what this is about. I didn't know anything. I heard his speech at church. I watched just that part, and like I was just, I was stunned. I was angry. I was beyond angry. I was infuriated. I was like, I was so shocked that that even happened. So I started looking into it, and I thank her very much for sending me down that path. Um, but from last year, I always said, this is at the end of the day. This is what I said from the beginning. God, I'm having a day. I said, you're going to find, and this is before I knew anything. I said, you're going to find trafficking of little peoples. If you search it out, and I still think this, even though it hasn't been proven yet, I think you're going to find that kind of activity definitely from his dad. Most likely, JP was involved in that as well. I said you're going to see a lot of essays and something with the club. This is why I think trafficking of humans and other things. There's too many. Entanglements, too many things. You've got a process, then you've got a plane. Come on, I've been screaming. This is what you're going to find, and this is not just like, yes, justice for Micah. It breaks my heart every time I see her TikToks. I see her saying, like, I get so angry that she was taken from us. I mean, I literally, I don't know if there is any justice at this point except seeing JP put beneath the jail. But I don't feel, in my heart, I don't feel like I would feel there's justice for her unless JP was arrested and it was absolutely proven that she did not do that to herself. It ain't the best justice, but that's as close as we can get on this side, and that's just my feeling. It is very heartbreaking. And I think there's so much, and these Jane Does coming out doesn't surprise me at all. I think when you get into all of the stuff and the attorneys and these weird addresses, like, look, I broke that down a long, long time ago. And I'm like, I think I said back then, I can't prove it. I got nothing to base this on except my gut. My gut tells me you're going to see this. And this was, whether it's ever proven or not, this is what was happening in the background. And I am hoping at this point that we get to that is revealed. I think all of his other crimes, as bad as they are against minors, and I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. And to be honest with you, and you have to kind of look at this as justice, sort of. All right, I wanted to see him be charged in her passing away and Micah's. However, if you think about it, if that was the only charge, okay, he would get out of jail. There, good lawyer and a bunch of crap and whatever, you can get out in a reasonable amount of time. But and I think that Micah suspected this as well, and this is why she had the notebook. I think she knew everything, not just suspected. I think she knew what he was doing. And therefore she had to be eliminated. But as bad as as happy as I would be about him being charged for that, if they can build a case of long-standing victims and all of this other corruption, they can build that case, then you are looking at him being put away for way more time than he would have been simply being charged with her unaliving. And that would be glorious, in my opinion. If that is, this is allegedly, if that is true, then, because again, that is my opinion of what I think was going on. It's not the exact end that I want, but seeing him having to face the consequences of his actions and Wayne Miller and all the rest of them that are covering for him, I think I could live with that. All right. Yeah, you're right. Probably never know all of it. But here's the thing. Even when you have someone coming out as a victim and you think it's a different story, sometimes things that they say, that they mention, like, all of a sudden it can spark something else. So maybe these victims knew, or maybe their testimony will spark something that wasn't out before. We don't know. Samantha, true justice would be Micah back with us. Yes, 100%. And JP and his dad locked in a cell with Bubba, the booty. For the rest of their days. The booty bandit. I love it. I know some Bubbas. Yeah. I didn't know I was going to find it that funny. I didn't see all of it until I put it up on the screen. All right, I'm going to leave y'all with that. That is beautiful. Thank you, Samantha. You made my day. And now, look, I need to make a little character. I need to make a little, an avatar or something. Maybe just a little thing. Bubba the Booty Bandit. What do you think? You think we can just throw that up on the screen sometime? All right, I'm going to let y'all go. I am going to be back to talk about some other things sometime in the next. I'm off tomorrow too, so sometime between tonight, tomorrow, whatever. We're going to talk about Nashville. I definitely want to be that to be the next thing. And look, as far as I know, it could be going on in places like Myrtle Beach as well, like any kind of town where you have water and strange happenings in the bar scene. How many cities is that? A lot. All right. I appreciate y'all so much. All right. Enjoy the sunshine because we're having tornadoes this weekend. Yeah. Fun. Alabama life. All right. I love you all. Stay safe out there. Whatever you do. Watch out for Bubba the Booty Bandit.